Hey there, guys. So really quick, I just wanted to do a video for you all and basically just let you know that the guides are now live for Combat Sentinel and Carnage Marauder. There's a couple of things I want to cover with them real quick, just to clear up any confusion that might come down later. So let me go real quick to the leveling. So for the leveling, this is supposed to be a guide meant to answer the question that I get all the time. Hey, Hayete, I'm level 31 and what should my rotation be? What should I be doing? What should I be prioritizing? That's basically what this is intended to be. So it's not a leveling guide for the Sentinel class going through their story or the Marauder class going through their story. It's specifically meant to give players an idea of what they should be prioritizing as they're leveling as far as abilities, defensives, AoE, stuff like that. So you'll see an example of that here. And basically the way this is broken down is into a couple of different level ranges. And then you do exactly what I said. So, let's say you're between level 1 and 9, and you're like, hey, you know what? So what should I be doing here? Well, you should be using Blade Barrage. That should be your highest priority tack. And I tell you, hey, it's gained at level 8. If you're not level 8, well then simply enough, you can't use it, so you go to the next thing. And you basically follow that format. Blade Storm would be next if you're not level 8. And that's gained at level 6. So if you're not level 6, you're going to be at Slash. So that's basically the way you would go through this and kind of read it and interpret it. I want to quickly mention this level range here. So I put a note here, basically, if you're between 59 and 70, just go to the rotation chapter and read that information and follow that. The reason that I did that is because once you hit level 58, you have all of the abilities that you need. Okay, and you have all of the abilities that you're going to get. However, I wanted to put a note here that you will not be capable of utilizing the rotation stuff that I have there until you're at least level 64. And that's because there are a couple of passives that you don't get up until that level that are really important for being able to keep the rotation that I have there stable. So I just quickly wanted to go over that with you guys and make sure that you're aware of how this is supposed to work. I don't want people to get kind of like the wrong idea when they see leveling that it's how to get through the story and go from 1 to 70 or something like that. So on the topic of rotation, I want to quickly cover with you guys the idea for the rotation. Because from 4.0 to 5.0, it's gotten a little bit more complicated to get this rotation cyclic. So what you have to do now, or what I kind of came up with for 5.0, and this is through simulated model and kind of in-game testing based off the simulation model and a couple of other different variables there, but this is what I came up with to keep it cyclic and to make sure that you guys have something that you can go through over and over and over and over again. And if if you get messed up somewhere, you have to divert for a mechanic or you have to go over here and do something, it should be simple enough to get back into it and pick up where you left off. I know from first glance it doesn't look like that and it's probably overwhelming. That's definitely been some of the feedback I got was, holy crap, how am I going to do this? So what I want to kind of do here is help you guys bridge that gap. Now I go over this information in the guide down here. I go over exactly how to run through this whole image and make it cyclic infinitely. But in case that might be confusing and to kind of curb any of that confusion, I want to tell you guys how to do this. So the basic idea is to do the opener. That's always the first thing you do with any guide. I think any guide writer, they kind of give you an opener and you do that from start to finish. So you guys will do that from start to finish. As soon as you get done with that, you're going to go into what I've called burst 1, okay? And you're going to go through that whole thing. Then what's going to happen is you're going to go to cycle 1 and go through that whole thing. And then you're going to go back to burst 1, go through that whole thing, and then go to cycle 2 and go through that. And so what happens is you're going to alternate. So you're going to do burst 1, cycle 1, burst 1, cycle 2, burst 1, cycle 1, burst 1, cycle 2. And you're going to rotate through that. After you do the opener, you're going to rotate through that process. At some point, your proc on dispatch, or for the Carnage Marauders, it's going to be Vicious Throw. Your proc on that is going to come up so early that you will not have it available to then repeat the burst. Okay? So that creates a problem. What you're going to have to do at that point is recognize that, and it generally comes, I ran this parse for 20 minutes, parsing this rotation. And when it generally comes, it's going to come like right after you're about halfway into your burst. You're going to see that it reprocs. And when you see that, that is your ding, 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 that you are going to have to get out of this cycle. So the way to do that is if you look at cycle 1 and cycle 2, you have twin saber throw at the beginning of these, or dual saber throw for the Marauders, going into your, your next burst window. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to use dispatch or vicious throw instead of that ability. So when you do that, you'll use that ability, and then you'll finish out the image, and you'll go basically right into burst 2. So you'll come out of that, you'll go into burst 2. Once you get into burst 2, it's very simple from there. You're doing burst 2, cycle 3, burst 2, cycle 3, and you're rotating back through that. At some point through that rotation, you're going to see your dispatch or your vicious throw proc right before you're going to go into burst 2. And then at that point, all you need to do is simply go back into burst 1. So instead of restarting burst 2 and you see that proc, you'll go and you'll start burst 1. And then you'll be back on that burst 1, cycle 1, burst 1, cycle 2 type rotation. Okay? I know that's confusing and it's going to be overwhelming for you guys at first, but this is from all the data that I crunched and the simulations I ran based on everything we have. This was the highest parsing rotation I got that I could make cyclic and make simple enough to where casual players would be able to execute it. Now the spec you still have to execute very, very, very quickly. It's 56 to 60 attacks per minute to pull this rotation off at 1200 alacrity. I won't go into much more of that. I'll let you guys read it in the guide. But there is a threshold, and if you're outside of that threshold, you more than likely will not be able to use this rotation, and you'll have to resort to strict priority lists. Okay? So I just wanted to cover that real quick with you guys and hopefully curb some of the confusion that might be coming. Again, you guys can find that stuff here, and I hope it is in a format to where it makes sense. Alright guys, I won't take up too much of your time. I've probably already done that now. I'm about 7 minutes or so in this video. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. If you have any questions or anything like that, definitely leave them on the forum posts on the official SOTOR site. Leave them here on my guide. Every single chapter has a place you guys can comment. Email me, whatever, okay? I'm going to get out of here though because I am exhausted. This guide, writing both of these things, has been about 29 plus hours of work, so I'm pretty beat right now with that. Oh, real quick, I almost forgot. So for those people that were asking me if I was going to be doing the guides for Dolphy, I literally had Dolphy email me probably about 30-40 minutes ago while I was finalizing the guides and finishing them up to ask, hey, are you going to write them? And unfortunately, that communication came way too late. I've already put so much effort. I've put about 29 hours into writing both of these guides. So for the meantime, I'm going to leave them on my site. I did tell Dolphy that she had my permission if she wanted to kind of link over to my site for these guides for people who go to her site. But whether she does that or she finds another guide writer, that's going to be up to her. But I wanted you guys at least to kind of know how that played out. I thought it was a little funny. I was literally seconds away from posting these guides and making them live, and I got the email asking. So, all right, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for your time. I hope you guys enjoy these guides. I put a lot of heart into them, and I hope they read well. If you have any feedback, please let me know that. If you have any suggestions for things to include in it, please let me know that. I want to hear that stuff. So, thank you guys. Have fun, and I look forward to your feedback.